from Thiruvananthapuram, Shashi Tharoor may have just faced his toughest electoral battle yet. He's hoping to complete a hat-trick in the constituency from where he was elected twice before, but this may be a tougher fight this time round. The BJP, meanwhile, is hoping to open its Lok Sabha seat account in Kerala from the seat of Thiruvananthapuram and fielded former Mizoram Governor Kummam Rajasekharan, who made the Shabarimala temple controversy his main poll pitch. Now, speaking to us after the last votes have sealed his electoral fate is Shashi Tharoor. And remember, in this interview, you can send in some questions for him as well, and hopefully he'll answer as many as possible. Mr. Tharoor, welcome to the show, and thank you for speaking with us today. Have you had a tough day or a good day?
Wonderful day. I think we have not only been able to seal the deal with the electorate, but I think that we're going to get a much bigger majority than we had expected. I've been saying towards the latter part of the campaign that it was clear we were going to win with a bigger majority than last time. But today I will amend that and say we're going to win with a much bigger majority than last time. The turnout has been terrific. The weather gods have been kind, over 71% so far, and in many places the queues that were admitted by 6 o'clock when the polls had to close were given tokens and asked to wait until the polling machine was free to receive their votes. So voting is still going on in some places at 8 p.m. in Thiruvananthapuram. It's been an amazing turnout. I think the people of Thiruvananthapuram are voting about the future of India, and they don't want the BJP to be part of that.
But to be fair, you've had a tough fight this time round, isn't it? And Mr. Rajasekharan, would you say he's your biggest challenger rather than the CPI? How much of an impact also has the Shabarimala temple issue had?
Okay, so on the first point, yes, the media let us believe that this was the BJP's seat. There were even a couple of media surveys that said they were winning. There was a certain amount of hype about the BJP campaign, which, as you rightly said, was centered on Shabarimala. But in fact, I think today's evidence suggests that that there was a whole amount of exaggeration in this presentation. First of all, as far as the BJP campaign itself was concerned, they've made, I think, a big tactical mistake in focusing only on communal polarization. That was their only message. Literally, they were asking for votes in the name of Shabarimala, of Lord Ayyappa, of Nayar women whom they allege in one of my books 30 years ago had defamed. It was just an absurdly one-sided campaign. And they thought by doing all this, they would place me on the defensive. But I had a positive message to give, both about my own performance for the last 10 years, which we could point to and my campaigners could point to very concrete achievements, and equally my own role in speaking up for an inclusive India on the national stage, in Parliament and across the country. And as a result, the people of Thiruvananthapuram have clearly turned up to vote for that message. It's striking. We've been up and down the constituency after I cast my own ballot, and I found that large numbers of people yes, very much inclined to my candidacy have shown up, which is one of the factors that has driven up the participation rate higher than ever before in Thiruvananthapuram. And I think we're looking at a really significant win. As for the BJP being the principal opponent, what has surprised many is that the left has put up a pretty good fight. And I think at the moment there is a solid fight between the BJP and the CPI for second place. But that's all the BJP is in contention for. So with the benefit of hindsight, not just today, but even for the last week or 10 days, I would say, it became clear that this was going to be, in the end, a much, much less close race with the BJP than 2009 turned out to be.
Okay, that's interesting, because last time round you won with 15,000 votes, and this time, you know, maybe tighter. We'll of course have to wait and see how it turns out. But some questions coming in, and I think you've answered part of Melvin Matthews' question, who says, hi Shashi sir, do you consider the people of Kerala have considered the Shabarimala issue as seriously as the BJP is portraying it. Let me add a bit to Melvin's question and also ask about your own response, Mr. Tharoor, because I've had the opportunity to speak to you about the Shabarimala issue. And there seemed to be a different stance that the Congress party took on the issue in Delhi and a different stance in Kerala. It seemed to smack of political opportunism, to be fair.
Not anymore. I think what Rahul Gandhi said after reflection and after consultation with the members of the party in Kerala, including Mr. A.K. Antony in Delhi, was that he actually had changed his mind, as indeed I did myself. But let me just come back to the first part of Mr. Melvin Matthews' question. I agree with him. I don't think the voters of Kerala gave as much importance to Shabarimala as the BJP did. There was a very intriguing survey that showed that only in Thiruvananthapuram, where 34% of the voters said it was the most important issue for them, everywhere else, there was nothing more than 4 or 5% of people who considered it the most important issue. Otherwise, everywhere else, people had the same issues we've been talking about: development, unemployment, GST, corruption by the government on Rafale and so on, and the extraordinary damage done to the economy with the BJP's misgovernance, highlighted by demonetization and other gross errors. All of this, I think, has been much more relevant to most Keralites. And above all, Kerala is not fertile ground for communalism. This is a famously eclectic and inclusive state. We have large populations of Muslims and Christians who feel just as Keralite and just as Indian as any Hindu Keralite. And there has never been a sense here, unlike in other parts of our country, particularly in the north, of a sort of minority complex. People belonging to the so-called minorities feel Indian first, Keralite first, and they don't feel in any way that their position, their rights, their stake in this society and this country is any different from people belonging to the so-called majority community. That thinking hasn't infected Kerala as much as the BJP would like. Now, Thiruvananthapuram may give them a certain percentage of the vote, but to expect that a majority here or a significant plurality will vote for a purely communal message was absolutely the wrong assumption. Last time, and the BJP read the wrong lesson from last time, it wasn't just the Hindutva message that won the BJP votes. There were a number of other factors, including a mini Modi wave. Modi's success in selling his dreams to the young across North India had a ripple effect in the South as well. And there were many first-time voters who thought that he actually meant it when he said, Achhe Din and Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. The problem is Achhe Din never came. And 5 years later, there's a profound disillusionment with that development message. A lot of people who were not Hindutva-minded voted for the BJP last time, and they're not going to do so. They didn't do so this time. And a lot of the first-time voters have come overwhelmingly to me and not to the BJP candidate.
All right. Now, that's a claim, of course, which we'll know whether it's true or not only on the 23rd of May. But you spoke about Rahul Gandhi, which is why let me take the opportunity to ask you about what impact his his contesting from Wayanad has had for the Congress in Kerala and, you know, in the southern part of India, because that was the claim, wasn't it? That this was an attempt to bridge the north-south gap, though it was painted as maybe having a plan B for Mr. Gandhi. Do you think it's had an impact?
Oh, absolutely. I think in Wayanad and in the neighboring constituency of Kannur, we've seen record turnout, largely inspired by his presence as a candidate and the feeling that many Malayalis have that, you know, an MP from Kerala is likely to be the next Prime Minister. Even in adjoining constituency in Tamil Nadu and Kerala, we're seeing signs. And Tamil Nadu has already voted. Karnataka, I beg your pardon, is the other state. Here you have the same sort of consciousness. So I would say that Rahul Gandhi being a candidate in Kerala has energized the Congress party in Kerala. We are frankly looking at sweeping the state. The UDF, that is the United Democratic Front led by the Congress, which has 4 seats allocated to partners and 16 to the Congress, is looking to sweep the state. We are in play, in contention in all 20 seats, and we would be surprised to get anything less than 17 or 18. It really looks very, very good for the party And I'm sure that the Congress leadership, after analyzing the books, is going to be likely to say that we will blank the state today. So Rahul Gandhi gets a certain portion of that credit, but the people of Kerala get the remaining portion for their faith in democratic values, progressive politics, and an inclusive India.
Okay, and we're taking questions from viewers, and Virendra Prajapati has a question for you. He asks, why is there no leader for Prime Minister candidate in the Congress apart from Rahul Gandhi? I believe there is enough potential in many Congress candidates, but are they being given a fair chance? What's your response to that, Mr. Tharoor?
My response is very clear. I think we've got a leader in Rahul Gandhi that we're all very happy to have. And very frankly, if any Congress leader you could care to name were to contest in a free and fair election amongst Congress workers against Rahul Gandhi, he would or she would come a cropper, because Rahul Gandhi is undoubtedly the choice of the party workers. You know, a party is made up of those who give their sweat and toil and tears to the organization and to its work, both in elections and between elections. And I think that it would be very improbable to see any of the very many reputed Congress leaders we have challenging Rahul Gandhi, because they actually support Rahul Gandhi themselves. Let me add one more thing. Being a leader in the Congress party is very different from being a leader in the BJP, where you really have what Shatrughan Sinha has described as a two-man army. Or I think he called it a one-man band and a two-man army. And where the other leaders don't feel they're leaders at all, they feel they're ciphers. Whereas in the Congress party, all of us are given our space, are given the opportunity to contribute to the party's vision, its message, its political heft in the country. And we know that when Rahul Gandhi needs advice, he turns to a wide cross-section of people. We know that he doesn't operate through a tiny cabal as the BJP leadership does, and that as president of the party, he is committed to governing both the party and one day, we hope, the country, with a deep bench of experienced and qualified people to help him, rather than pretending that this is some sort of autocratic system where a one-man president runs the entire country, as Mr. Modi has been trying to do. And I think this is essentially the main reason why we don't have a problem with the present structure with Rahul Gandhi.
Okay, you said who may lead the country one day. Is that one day in 2019 or 2024 possibly? And I ask this also because of an interview the Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Kamal Nath gave to PTI, and he's been quoted in that interview saying, of course, we're going to do very, very well, but I do not see us reaching a majority, and there will have to be a post-poll alliance, and this will throw up different types of combinations. We're pretty much at the halfway mark, Mr. Tharoor. Over 300 seats have gone to vote across the country. Do you have a fair assessment, and do you agree with Mr. Kamal Nath's assessment that the possibility of a Congress-led government headed by Rahul Gandhi doesn't seem very likely at this point?
No, I think what he meant was very clear. I think you folks are misunderstanding his statement. He meant that we are going to be the centerpiece of a UPA 3 with coalition partners, who are not necessarily only those parties who have fought alongside us in the pre-poll stage, that they are likely to be post-poll parties too. This is hardly some sort of secret. I mean, I think it's widely understood that there are some states in which regional parties who are not currently allied with us are likely to come out very well. These are parties which historically, for the last 25 years, have been governed by regional parties. And these parties are therefore in a very good position to decide which of the two national parties they would support to form a coalition. And it's very clear that the vast majority of these regional parties would rather back a Congress coalition, precisely because of the style of inclusive leadership that Rahul Gandhi practices or the Congress party believes in, rather than joining in a subservient role to the BJP's two-man army. And I think this is something we have to understand about our politics. The BJP 2014 to 19 period may be seen in hindsight as an aberration. because from 1989, our country has entered a period of non-majority or coalition governance, where very good and effective governments have functioned made up of multiple parties. We know that, and I'm saying this without any embarrassment as a congressman, that Mr. Vajpayee had 26 coalition partners in his government, but he gave the country 6 years of stable governance. The UPA 1 and 2, a slightly different composition, but both had multiple parties, 20 parties roughly in each, and in the case of UPA 1, there was also support from the outside, from the left parties. Now, why can't you imagine a scenario in which the Congress does at least as well as 2004, possibly, probably better, and has other partners? I think Kamal Nath has been given a very unfair interpretation. Clearly, that's all he meant. I think we will come to power in 2019. We will not have to wait till 2024. And if you want proof, just look at that leaked letter by Murli Manohar Joshi to L.K. Advani after the first phase, where he said, we have been discussing the possibility of BJP winning 150 seats, but after the first phase, it looks very clear the BJP won't win more than 120. That's a very senior BJP leader to another senior BJP leader. That's the situation of the BJP.
That letter, then there was a denial that that letter was even true. So, I mean, I'm not going to go into something that I haven't independently verified. So we'll leave that aside. I'm not sure if that letter is fake or not. But there is one more question I have from you from someone called Market Telex has written in asking who will be the finance minister if the Congress is voted to power.
That's above my pay grade, Market Telex. I think the only one who can answer that question is the next Prime Minister.
Let me come to, the questions of alliances. You spoke a little while earlier about the possibility, and the best case scenario, honestly, for the Congress is to lead some sort of a UPA 3. Has the ground been set for such a possibility well enough? And I'm referring to the confusion in Delhi with the Aam Aadmi Party. It was almost painful over weeks. We will, we won't, we're thinking about it, 2 seats, Haryana, this, that and the other, maybe, maybe not. And finally, yesterday you went ahead and declared your candidates. You've not given your own candidates enough time. It seems like, an option B and not the first choice. And also it gives a broader message of, an inflexibility to really take everyone along, effectively, possibly handing the BJP 7 seats in Delhi.
Well, I mean, I certainly hope that won't be the result of that. Look, I've been completely focused on my constituency and haven't had any detailed inside knowledge of why the talks went the way they did, but they may have been influenced by factors beyond Delhi, certain demands made by the Aam Aadmi Party in other states. I don't know. I'm just speculating on the basis of media reports. But let me answer that you're overlooking one key thing, Tamanna, and that is the key difference between a pre-poll stage and a post-poll stage. In a pre-poll stage, you really have very few partners. They're close partners. They're usually partners who have worked alongside you in parliament as well during your stint in opposition, who are in partnership with you in states as well. And these partners are really your pre-poll allies. You divide seats with them and you go ahead. There are some parties who are interested in considering a pre-poll negotiation, but you have no previous history with them. And you can't just lightly sign up to a pact unless you have certain common ground you're sure of. Now, in a post-poll stage, the calculations are very different. In a post-poll stage, you're saying, we now have a chance to form a government. Do you want to be part of that government? Is it a better alternative than the government that the other guys could form if you supported them? And if so, what's the minimum common program? No longer the full across-the-board agreement you see with pre-poll partners, but a minimum common program on which we can find meeting place, meeting ground. And I think that in the latter case, a lot more parties come along. So if you were to look at both UPA 1 and UPA 2, you can see that Sonia Gandhi entered the elections with a set of partners, and then we entered the government with a larger set of partners. And I expect something very similar to be happening in 2019.
One more question, and I know you've been focused on Thiruvananthapuram, but you're a national leader as well, which is why I have to ask you with what's going on with Priyanka Gandhi's rumored candidature from Varanasi. Both Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi leaving everyone guessing. Leaders say, she'll fight if she wants to. We're going to decide soon. Is there a likelihood of her taking that risk in going up against Prime Minister Modi?
Well, look, I think the This is a call that she and the party president are going to make. And he was in Kerala when he was asked this question. And he grinned and said, I'll keep you in suspense, which suggests that if he wanted to issue an outright denial, he chose not to do so. And that means it's very much an option. Beyond that, I can't say. I think, frankly, if she contests anywhere, she'd be a terrific candidate. And Varanasi would send a terrific signal that we're not afraid of Narendra Modi, and that we will take him on with the rest we have to offer. So I'm really very pleased that this is even being considered. What the final decision will be, I don't know. And frankly, the only people who know haven't said anything yet.
All right. Thank you for your time and taking our viewers' questions, Mr. Tharoor. I hope you're recovering well with the accident you had during the campaigning phase. Yes, best of luck to you and, of course, the people of your constituency. Hope they've made the right choice.
I certainly hope they have, and I'll see you next time without the turban. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
All the best.